Hi guys, Mauro here. I want to talk about the myth of the prodigy, of the God gifted player, athlete, or person. So many times we see people that are great performers, and many times we hear that they are like kind of like God gifted. And when people talk about it like that, it kind of looks or gives a feeling like they are like a race or a breed apart from us common humans or ordinary human beings, let's say. So I wanted to mention, I wanted to talk about the myth of the prodigy versus the person that just puts the hard work and the hours. In the book Bounce with Matthew Syed, I really recommend this book. Matthew Syed, I think that's the right pronunciation, Syed. Matthew was a two-time Olympian, number one, got to be number one in the world in table tennis, and he talks about the myth of the guys that are God gifted, or prodigies, that we think that they are kind of like, they call them natural sometimes. And after studies around the world, what they came to, what they kind of like, they figure out is that there is not really a God gifted person. There is not really. There are persons, they came up to they found out that it's pretty much the idea that talent is overrated. It's many times that we hear the success of people that we don't know what's behind the hours, the hours of practice and the years and the decades sometimes. And one of the examples that he talks about in the book is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. That by the time Mozart was 5 or 6, he was already giving live performances, and by the time he was 10, he had already done several compositions. Well, it turns out that what people don't know is that Mozart's dad was a very famous performer and composer, and by the time Mozart was 3 years old, he had him already in a very intense training program for composition and performing. So the compositions that Mozart did by the time he was 5 or 10, they say they were not really, they were actually rearrangements of other composers. They were not really like pieces of art like a lot of people think. They were for violin and piano. But it turns out that until 2 decades after he started composing is when he created his best works. So he spent 20 years. He started doing early works on it, but he spent 20 years until he really created something that you could call like a masterpiece. According to Matthew on the book, he says Mozart is one of the best proofs, is the best testament that you can have of someone that is not really a prodigy, is not a God-gifted person, but instead is someone that put all the work, and eventually, long time after he started working, it took him 2 decades, he came up with a master. He came up with something. His compositions were, more like masterpieces, like real compositions, nothing rearranged from other performers. There is something that I want to read to you from the book that talks about Federer. The book it's Mozart, Federer, Picasso, Beckham, and the Science of Success. So there is something that he mentions here about Federer. Says Federer's advantage has been gathered from experience. More precisely, it has been gained from a painstaking process of encoding the meaning of subtle patterns of movement drawn from more than 10,000 hours of practice and competition. He's able to see the patterns of his opponents' movements in the same way that chess players are able to discern the patterns in the arrangement of pieces on a chessboard. It is his regular practice that has given him this expertise, not his genes. So that's why they talk. A lot of people see Federer play, and they think that he was born with something special. The truth is that we don't. I mean, unless you have read his book, you don't know his story. He started training really hard at a very early age, for hours and hours and hours, years and years and years, until he finally developed that the game that he has, nowadays, until what he developed what he is today. But everything was done through hard work. Nothing was given to him. Nothing was God given. Nothing was. There is no prodigy. Everything was hard work, and that's a very important thing that you want to keep in mind. It doesn't matter if you consider yourself an ordinary, regular human being. Even if when people say this guy has a lot of talent, like the book says, the talent is overrated. It doesn't matter. There's many players, many performers out there in any field that they were not nearly as talented as many other guys, and they went way, way, way farther away than those guys. Just coming to my head right now is David Ferrer. The guy, he didn't have as much talent as many of the other players on the tour. But the guy has a big heart. He's got a heart of a lion, and that is something that has helped him or helped him stay in the top 10 in the world for I don't know how many years, probably 8 years or a decade, something like that. And one last thing that I wanted to read to you guys about the book is improvements have not occurred because people are getting more talented. They occur because people are practicing longer, harder, due to professionalism, and smarter. It is a quality and quantity of practice, not genes, that is driving progress. So that's what's happening with a lot of performance nowadays. It's not really that a lot of those guys are God gifted or they're much more talented. It's just that practice is different than it was years or decades ago, and that's what they're taking care nowadays. They're taking care. They're practicing more to take care. For example, athletes. They do exercises for prevention of injuries. Like in the past, you would only train just to build your muscles and be faster. But nowadays, they have the exercises that are going to make you faster and going to make you stronger, and there are also exercises that are going to prevent you from getting injured. So it's different training nowadays. All right, guys. Well, this is something that I wanted to talk about so you can shake it off you, the idea that, oh, this guy or this other guy is much more talented, he's better than guys that might seem better than you. That's no excuse. There is no limit for you to how much you can grow in your game and in any field. So pay attention to that. It's everything about dedication and hard work, spending time and time and time practicing on whatever it is that you want to get better. All right, guys. Well, I just want to let you know about it. Give me a like, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Bye.